Alrighty, it's now 6:30 and time to begin our regular meeting of the City Council. Therefore, we call the meeting to order. And note that all members of the council are here present, with the exception of Mayor Bigelow, who is away and excused tonight. At this time, we would typically invite any scouts who are here, Cub Scouts or other scouts, to here working on any sort of merit badge or skill award or anything else. If they would, by troop or pack, come up and just send one of the boys up to tell us a little bit about what you're working on and what schools you go to, so we have a general idea of where you live. I don't know if there are any scouts here that are working there. Seems to be somebody that's getting uncomfortable. So if we could have one of you come up here and tell us you're working on what? Did we miss that? Oh, we did. I'm sorry. We'll give you a minute. We'll come back to that because I skipped an item. We have an opening ceremony. Turn to Council Member J.T. Simon for that.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Bueller. Ladies and gentlemen, to assist with our opening ceremony tonight, I'm really honored to introduce Jolynn Kohler, who's the principal of Redwood Elementary, who not long ago received the USCA Human Rights Award from the Utah School Counselors Association, and is someone who is widely applauded in the community for exemplifying the kinds of values and servant leadership that we really espouse and believe in here in West Valley. She's joined tonight also by Vice Principal Rebecca Spence, who I think we should acknowledge tonight as well. And with that introduction, I'd like to invite Ms. Kohler up here to the podium to lead us in tonight's Pledge of Allegiance. And if you would all please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. And can I just say, council members, it is an honor to be able to serve the community of Redwood Elementary here in West Valley.
And I'd personally like to welcome your assistant too, because they're important.
Thank you.
I'm a career assistant principal. So.
My people.
Okay, thank you. We developed any encouragement among the scouts, or? Okay, that's okay. We'll continue on, and that'll be just fine. The next item on our agenda is we have the minutes of our last meeting, May 14th, 2019, to the council.
Move to approve the minutes of May 14th, 2019.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion, corrections? Then all who are in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The minutes have been approved unanimously. That brings us to our comment period. This is an opportunity we set aside each week, 30 minutes for members of the public to come and tell us what is on their mind, what they are concerned with, or what's going on in their neighborhood. You may come here tonight with the very best idea, but we won't be able to act on it because it's not on our agenda, and we haven't given notice to the rest of the city that we would be discussing or taking action on an item tonight. So this is an opportunity for you to present information, but it won't be a discussion or a debate. You're to direct the comments to me as Mayor Pro Tem, and each person has a 5-minute limit, so the less time you take, the more we can hear from, and we'll proceed with those who signed up to make comments tonight. Sometimes people sign this thinking they're just signing in a roll, and if that's the case, that's okay. You don't have to make a comment, but we'll take these in the order that they signed up. And I will read your name just as neatly as you wrote it. And you can come up and make some comments. The first we have is Esteria. Okay, would you like to make some comments? Please come up so we can have it recorded. Everything here is recorded for our records. Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of nervous, so.
Don't be nervous. We're just like you, residents of the city.
Thank you. I'm a mother of 4. They all play rugby, and I was in the beginning of this club. Sorry, English is my second language. I'm trying my best to express my feelings about this. And I was in the beginning of this club, and this is the worst thing that I see. Most of the boys, they have talent, and we always got kicked out from other field because we don't have a home field. I'm here to support my boys. I'm wishing that somebody will step up and help for all these boys to continue their talents. And some of the boys that graduate with my son got scholarship from this sport. And I know they have a right to deserve a field for them. And I was hoping that was somebody would step up. And I'm grateful for Fitzsimon and all the parents that try their best to get something for those boys. And I'm here to support them. I'm so grateful for their talents that make me love sports and love seeing them play rugby. And I see they don't like football anymore, but they love rugby. But I hope somebody will help us to continue and for all these boys in West Valley. I don't want to go anywhere. I live in West Valley my whole life, so I know my boys would deserve a nice field in West Valley too. That's all I say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our list, we have Don Nichols.
I'm not very good at this either. I don't like the attention or none of that stuff, but I've got a problem with you guys. Your ordinance people have wrote me up for some petty little crap that right now my wife is going through breast cancer right now, and she's had 2 surgeries in the last 6 weeks. The first time they didn't get it all, so I had to go back. Today I just left this afternoon, we were down, they're discussing the chemo options. She has some heart problems. The chemotherapy's bad for your heart. She's been with me for 43 years. To you guys, this is just another person. To me, this is a big deal for me, okay? I've done a lot for the city. You don't think so? Yeah, I'm just doing my civic duty, and that's true. I walked into a domestic violence, which your police call their most dangerous call, me and my wife. We're senior citizens. And there's a gun on the table, okay? We were the first responders there. We were the true leaders. Where I come from, a true leader, description of a true leader, is the first guy through that door. That's the only one that's a true leader. We were the first ones over there. We made sure that gun was off the table. Things were calmed down. Nobody's punching nobody. The cops roll up. There's like 6 of them. And one guy gets out, and this is probably a bad word. One guy gets out with an AR. And I'm walking up the driveway and I go, hey, you're getting an AR out for this? And they told me that if there's a gun on the table, we gotta use what we gotta use. But I was just, and I said, look, the gun's off the table. If you guys are scared, come on back, we'll help you. And I guess I pissed them off. Because then they, later we went home. I went home, watched my TV show my wife was watching, and they arrested the guy because he had a unpaid ticket or something. And protocol is they have to take him in or whatever. But then the other 2 guys were there watching football. I think they said the young guy, there was one young cop there, and he said, we need to go talk to the neighbors and say we're the first ones here. And the older guy who was running the show said, no, they're assholes. You can call me an asshole. My ego is not that fragile, okay? My wife feeds stray cats, people. She's not an asshole, okay? This is really bad for your PR. You guys shouldn't do stuff like that. That's not nice. And then they're writing me up for some little pissy ass thing. They're writing me up. I had a TBI 3 years ago where I worked. And I went back to work and I did my same job that I did before. I'm not disabled, I'm not handicapped. And it might have slowed me down a little bit, not very much. And I'm getting older, but I don't know, and so things have got a little out of hand at our house. At our place, we have 1.5 acres. We have a big lot out back. When we first bought that place, we took all the trees out so we could keep it mowed down, because that ryegrass gets about that tall in the summer, and by the July it's dried out and it's a fire hazard. This benefits me. We took all the trees out, we keep it mowed down. The neighbors to the east ours, their grass is this high right now, and I'm not complaining. The west side it's this high. I'm not complaining on that. I got a buffer zone, I don't care, I'll put the fire out if it starts. And we're not needy people. But it's just right now, and if I would have probably handled this a little differently if it wasn't right now. There's a lot of stress in my house right now, okay? I've talked to ordinance, I've been down here to City Hall, I've talked to nobody, everybody just wants to, well, that's somebody else's deal, we can't do nothing, you know? This is wrong. I don't care if you call it legal or illegal, this is wrong. Some things are right and some things are wrong. You don't kick somebody when they're down, and I don't like bullies. I don't like people bullying me. We've got property up on 5600 West, a rental, and when they redid 56 and widened it, almost 20 years ago, they tore out the sidewalks and stuff, and UDOT put the sidewalk back in on 56. The sidewalk going west, they said that's West Valley, and West Valley, we talked to West Valley, they said they didn't have the money for it right now, you'll just have to wait. If you have to have it done right now, you can use one of our contractors and you can pay for it yourself. Oh, I didn't like that attitude and that, so we waited. A year later, we confronted again, got the same story. 6 months after that, we're pouring a patio out back. I ordered 2 extra yards of concrete, we poured it, and we did the work ourselves. And we didn't ask West Valley for no money or nothing, or no reimbursement or nothing. Now they're coming with me with this shit about, you got so many days or something to fix this. I'm not even sure what the problem is they wrote me up, but as far as I'm concerned, this paper is kindling. I'm not even gonna look at it.
Mr. Nichols, thank you, and your time's up.
All right, I know you guys don't wanna listen to this, but
We have to.
I've talked to
rules
City
for
Hall,
everybody.
I talked to City Hall and I've talked to ordinance and everybody's just throwing me around.
Well, we've heard you.
My
and
attitude is this because of the response I've had so far.
we need to ask you to stop
Okay.
now. Thank you.
Okay.
Next is Mike Markham.
Okay, Mike Markham, 3008 Alice Way. Just a couple of things. In study meeting last week, there was a lot of talk about parking on the street of commercial vehicles and so forth. My feeling is, well, you know what my feeling is about parking on the street. No commercial vehicles whatsoever on the street. If it's a van that's used in a business, it needs to be back in the driveway. And that can't force their car out on the street. If their employer sends a car home with them, they need to make sure that person has a place to park that car. And it's not on the street. I just found that this was a question I was going to ask about unlicensed cars on the street. I was told that they can't be cited for being unlicensed. They can be, I think I was said tagged, but if it's not gone in 3 days, it can be towed. I think it should be cited, and if it's still there in 3 days, it should be towed. Because in my case, I have people that have a used car lot in my neighborhood that says they can park their cars on the street all they want. It's unlicensed, as long as they move them back and forth and around. That 3-day thing is terrible. Another quick issue that I brought up here a while back about abandoned buildings that should be tore down. We've got 2 of them now that's boarded up, one on the east side of Bangor Highway and 35th, and one on the west side of Bangor and 35th. The old Zions Bank building, They're probably owned by UDOT because they want to put the overpass in. Let's get UDOT to step up, tear that down, and make it look halfway decent. The Tampico property or the old Don Antonio place, they tore that down, but they could spend a little bit more time tidying up that lot, taking out the old sign and the debris that they've left sitting there. We need more rules when it comes to people being notified when the dumpsters go out in your neighborhood. I've already confronted the fellow that put it together in our neighborhood. The only people in my neighborhood that knew when the dumpsters were coming were the ward members. Isn't it a citywide? Isn't it for everybody in the city? It's not for Mackey Meadow Ward. It's for everybody in the city. This last year, when they brought the notification around, they brought it around on Monday and the dumpsters were being dropped off on Tuesday. You got to give the people a weekend to gather their stuff up and prepare for it. It does nothing if you have no warning until they start dropping in your yard. And I've talked to Ray about that already. Ray's already told me he doesn't want to deal with the person that took care of the dumpsters this time and last time. And he's also the person in charge of the neighborhood watch that is only controlled by the ward. I've asked if they would please have the neighborhood watch meetings over at Valley Junior High. They've complained that Valley would charge them $50 for the room. I've offered to pay the $50 and they still have it at the ward. You know, we need to even things out here a little bit. Another that I just made a quick note here on, notifications when we're after people on neighborhood code violations. I think if somebody doesn't want to get a notification, they're not going to get the notification. I think we do a pretty good job of getting those notifications out. I had a deal where I was settling up a trust and I had a letter that was supposed to be signed for and with the check in it, and the people wouldn't do it until I put on the note that it was trust settlement and there was money involved. They took care of it that fast. So people can get what they want to get. That's pretty much my little list of things here, but I think we need to keep pushing on parking codes, parking ordinances. You drive up and down the streets and you can't get by. I don't know what we can do, what we can't do, but I think it's an issue that we really need to take a serious look at. And now my car lot can stay there. And they can just rotate the cars through if they can let them sit there for 72 hours. I've even taken it to the state and tried to get their dealer license revoked, and that didn't work because I've taken pictures of where their business is supposed to be, and it's not at their house. So we need to work on parking issues. Thanks.
Thank you. And next we have Mike Smither.
I bet y'all can't guess why I'm here.
Nothing tell us.
So I too am a parent that's here to talk about the rugby team. My son actually has been graduated for 2 years. I was one of the original founding parents that founded this team 6 years ago. 6 years ago. So let me tell you a little bit about the team. I was the treasurer and I work for a global bank and I do big data analytics. I'm a numbers guy. I can tell you that when we started winning in my son's sophomore year, we won 57 straight games. We took 3 state championships. We took a national title. Since then, the varsity club has come behind us, taken 2 more varsity championships. And Koki and the majority of the 9-10 team that are here tonight were the only undefeated 9-10 team to take state this year. So it's not a matter of should we have some place that we can earmark that this is their field that they can practice on and we can put up temporary poles. We need to. Because this team has been ranked number 1 in the nation 2 or 3 times in the last 5 years. And we're constantly in the top 10, a lot in the top 5. So I don't know what the formal request is, but to officially move this from meeting minutes and talking for a couple of minutes or 5 minutes of my time, can we put this on the agenda and talk through it? And I don't think it's more, we want to earmark money from the city to build a field. I don't think that's the case. I think we want to earmark as part of a park somewhere that is for this team. And it makes me very, very proud to see these little guys in here that are playing sevens this summer. So I mean, the legacy of this team is going to continue on. I've been removed from it in a couple of years, but I love this team. I love these boys, and they're really good players. So I could probably continue talking. Everybody who knows me knows that I can talk a lot. But what y'all need to understand is this is a great team. We have great coaches that have been here for a long time. And Pokey, who's going to be coming up for varsity again this year, he's got 4 state championships in the last 5 years. And he's going to be taking Isaiah and Susan and the team around the horn again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next we have, looks like Lars Molini.
Mr. Mayor, sir, good evening. My name is Lars Molini. I'm a captain in the U.S. Field Artillery. I'm also an employee of Hopeful Beginnings that provides many great benefits to West Valley through mental health therapy, doctor care, respite services, and other government programs. Hopefully, by the end of next year, I'll finish my JD from the University of Utah. In my free time, I'm a rugby coach. So in 2015, my friends and I founded the Hunterville Rugby Club. That year, we trained about 50 kids on how to play rugby. The following year, that number grew to about 80 kids. In 2017, we changed our name to the West Valley Warriors Little Rugby Club and joined our forces with Coach Ipoki Mahina, which was mentioned there, has a few state championships, Monsieur Sione Laloni, and their varsity program, which is the West Valley Warriors rugby program, to make the transition for our Little League players into high school smoother and to allow pooling of resources. Tonight I want to focus my comments on 3 things. First of all, why rugby matters. Second, why West Valley City is so special for rugby. And third, how support from the West Valley City government will provide positive effects that will be magnified exponentially back through the city in recreational, economic, and civic ways. So first, why does rugby matter? Here are some facts. Rugby sevens, which is where you play 7 players versus 7 players on a rugby field, is now an Olympic sport, which means more and more rugby scholarships are available at top universities. I've already personally contacted coaches from top universities, including West Point, who said they are willing to sponsor and provide scholarships, waivers, and whatever they need for elite rugby players, provided they have passing grades in school. Most of our rugby players are great students as well. This means more and more kids from West Valley City now have other ways to get into college. Another fact, many top football players in the NFL and the NCAA grew up playing rugby. This means that rugby is having a huge impact on the NFL, but also that the NFL is not competing against rugby, but that they are mutually inclusive, which means that a rugby player that plays football has multiple options to college and a professional athletic career. Many of those top NFL players who grew up playing rugby are reaching back to their rugby communities to support them. Another fact, this also means that the sport is growing in popularity and that the sport can bring revenue to cities and states that invest in the sport. Las Vegas, who hosts the Rugby World Sevens tournament, had over 60,000 fans this year attend the event. Rugby 15s, which is where you play 15 players versus 15 players, is a multi-billion-dollar industry worldwide. In Europe, the South Pacific, and Japan, an average professional rugby player makes about $130,000 a year, with the top players earning over $3 million a year. This number grows as the sport grows. The United States now has their own Major League Rugby, their rugby version of the NFL. There are now 12 professional teams from all over America participating and more soon to join. They have television contracts with NBC and ESPN and an estimated fan base of over 40 million viewers. Rugby is played in 121 countries with over 8.5 million rugby players worldwide. 2.2 million of those players are female. Rugby is the fastest growing sport in America and has been for the last 5 to 10 years. A recent Nielsen research poll indicates that more than 33 million people in America are either very interested or interested in the sport. There are over 2,600 rugby clubs in the U.S., more than 900 college teams, and over 125,000 players. Over 25% of those players are female. Per capita, rugby is growing faster in Utah than in any other state. We currently have over 20 varsity high school boys teams and more startup teams every year. The U.S. is projected to host the 2027 World Cup. With the right kind of support, West Valley City could potentially see multiple players from our backyard represent our nation in that team. Second, why is West Valley City so special? So I grew up in New Zealand for a couple of my years, which is where my mother is from. And they are touted to have the best rugby national team for the last 10 years. They have the most winningest record in rugby. 3 things they have. They have interest, they have accessibility, and they have talent. Now, here in West Valley, we have a large interest and we have a gold mine of talent. What we don't have is accessibility. Currently, we have to practice in Kearns, and I'm going to just cut my note short because I'm running out of time. Currently, we practice in Kearns because we can't play at West Valley City. At one time, we did have access to the West Valley City Centennial Park. My dad helped organize the men's league there, and we were practicing. The men's teams were practicing and playing their games on the southeast field. Over time, the city has lost interest in rugby, mainly the people at the rec center. Whereas now we have no access to that field. Now soccer and softball has precedence on that field. Over the last year, they no longer want us practicing at that field. All we're asking for is a field of our own, if possible, access back to that field. We just need access to the field with goalposts and lines to practice and to play our games and host games there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time, sir.
We have Shelley Larson.
Hello. So as you can see, I'm also from the West Valley Warriors. Some of my stuff will be repetitive from what you've already heard, but I still want to say it so you guys can hear my voice. I have been with the West Valley Warriors rugby team since it started in 2014. As a parent, coach's wife, and now as a co-president with Lars Maleni. Sorry, I'm going to be a little emotional because I've been with this club forever. And I love these boys, and my husband coaches, and he does such a great job with these boys that these boys deserve a field, just like all these other parents have said. We need to be able to keep these boys out of trouble and to be able to teach them leadership and to be able to help them grow up and be the leaders that we know that they can be. Sorry, I have to remove my glasses now because I can't see. So I'm a coach's wife and now also a co-president with Lars Maleni. Myself and a few parents started with the club after we decided it was too much traveling to another city to have our boys play for the rugby team. We have tried to find a field for our team, however we haven't had any success. Some fields we have practice at, as Blake said before, we have practice at Hunter Park, Woodledge Park, Centennial Park, and Southridge Park now. We have also looked into using the fields at the junior high schools, however they are asking us to pay a fee to be able to play on those fields. With our club, because we're a nonprofit and most of our boys are Polynesians, and we have more than one player playing on our clubs, it's hard for us to sometimes raise the money to be able to rent these fields. The fields are also being used for other sports and are not kept up, and we also have found other items in the park that we don't want our kids playing in those fields due to safety for the practices. We are here to ask for the city's help to get us a field to practice on and hold our games. The players and the parents have been traveling to other fields for many years. We have traveled down to Spanish Fork and also up to Layton and all the cities here in Salt Lake to watch our boys play rugby. We have only had 2 home fields in these 5 years, and those 2 home games that we've had were here at Centennial Park last year. And the reason why we had that field was because we were able to do a rugby clinic with the West Valley Rec Center. And during that clinic, they allowed us to use the field for those 2 home games. We tried to go back to them back this year and ask them to use those fields. However, they told us we weren't able to due to the low number of kids involved in the clinic the year before. So we had to go back to the Southridge Park to use the park there in Kearns. Excuse me. Let's see. We have started the club with a varsity team and a 9-10 team. During the 5 years we have been going. We've also had a girls team and a 7-8 team, which is the 7th and 8th graders. There also is the West Valley Warriors junior rugby team that Laura spoke about, and that goes down from the ages of 6 all the way up to the ages of 14. We also have run many championship games. Our 9-10 in 2015 won, and then we had the 4 state championships that we've had back to back for the last 4 years. Our 9-10 again just won the state championship in 2019, and also we traveled to Colorado in 2017 and won the Rocky Mountain Challenge there. As some of my other parents and board members have said, we have also been nationally ranked. In 2015, we have been ranked 12th in the nation, 2016, 13th in the nation, in 2017, the 4th, and in 2018, the first ranking. In 2018, we were ranked number 1 in high school. By having our club, we are hoping to empower our youth in leadership and a pathway to higher education. Our coaches have passion for the game and for our players. They want to help the youth of our club to be successful on and off the field. All of our success thus far has been from volunteer coaches and board members, as well as our players' personal work to be able to represent the city of West Valley and be the best rugby team in the state of Utah. All of this volunteer work will continue, but at this time, West Valley Warriors is looking for the city to be partners with us as a rugby team and help us find a field here in West Valley so we can practice and have our games so our parents do not have to travel any longer. We also want to be ranked again number 1 in the nation, and we're hoping to do that within the next couple years. Thank you for your time, and I hope you'll be able to help us find a field.
Thank you. We have Latoya Pratt.
Hi, I'm Latoya. I had the task this year of trying to find a field. My husband is a coach for the 7-8s, and we're fairly new to the club. So I started by going to the rec center and made an appointment with, I believe it was Nancy Day, and expressed our interest and I felt pretty prepared with what we wanted, what we needed, and our stats and everything. It was pretty much turned away instantly and told that there wasn't an interest in rugby at all within the community, and that they wouldn't be able to help us. And they kind of just pushed me around to go to different schools and different avenues. And I continued to just be told the same thing, that there wasn't enough interest. They weren't interested in having rugby at their facilities. So it was quite frustrating. I just wanted to say that we're kind of out of a loss of where to turn to now, and that's kind of why we're here as a club now, to show that there is there is an interest in rugby in this city, and that there's actually a lot of talent, and that we would really thrive with having our own field. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sinai Pune, Pauni. And we're just about running out of time, so that everyone can speak, please keep your message brief if you can.
I'm going to just keep it real short, because I think the longer I talk, the tendency I have to cry. I'm a West Valley rugby mom. My boys have played the past couple of years. And just to kind of, I guess, voice our concern and opinion. Okay, here we go. Like what's been mentioned before, we don't have a home field. We have traveled as far as St. George to play. We we've been kicked off fields because the soccer teams and other teams needed it. And it would just be nice to have a field that our boys can play. As you can see, they were all up for the opportunity to come out and be seen and be heard. Because I'm sure you guys probably didn't even know they even took championships these past few years. You know, we're willing to do whatever it takes to have a field to be able to play here at home. I mean, it's great to go and win in these other cities, but it's nothing greater than to win in your home field. I'm not sure if you've seen on the list, there's 2 boys after. Those are my boys. They didn't know that I signed them up. So I'm going to just end there and let them share. I'm sure they're not going to say very much, but I know it would probably mean a lot to hear from some of the players. But thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. So we have Morgan Paulini and Gideon Paulini.
I don't really know what to say. I mean, playing rugby is kept me out of trouble. It's really hard waking up every Saturday to go and play in other cities. I mean, it starts to take its toll on you. It'd be very nice to have a home field, so we wouldn't have to travel so far. And then yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Are you Gideon? Okay, you're the last one.
My name is Gideon, like you guys just heard. But I've been playing rugby since 8th grade, and rugby's kept me and my friends out of trouble. Gives us something to do while so we're not just sitting at home doing nothing. We can actually go and play a sport that we love. Having a home field would just, I don't know, it'd be nice to have support from the whole West Valley community, because going out to different cities, we don't really get that support. We just have the support of our parents and stuff, and just having a home field would give us a lot more support, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. We turn now for city manager comments, if any. Mr. Pye?
I have no comments this evening, sir. Thanks.
And then any city council comments?
I'd just like to ask a question, if I could, of the rugby players here. Give me a little more background to discuss it possibly next week in our study session. I know I fell into rugby this year as a bonus grandson, came to live with my grandson, and he was playing rugby for a high school. How many of you go to Hunter High? Okay, how many Granger High? That looks kind of like the West Valley area hockey team I participated on as a parent and grandparent. They were made up of all the high schools, but mostly Hunter, and we had the same problems. But thank you for your participation. Thank you for winning the state championship. I happened to be there for the Kearns game right after yours, but I did get to the end of yours, so congratulations.
I just also wanted to add thank you for participating in in civic engagement. We're talking about a lot more than just the game here, and I did also want to commend our Parks and Recs folks who have been very responsive in terms of discussions about different options, and I also, like you, wish there was an immediate, very affordable way to do this right now. And while that may not be realistic, we are committed to working to find different options, and very thankful for all of you sharing your insights tonight.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Westwood City is we have a multi-ethnic groups here in our city. That's very rich cultures. You know, and it's a nice fabric in our society. And I want to say thank you to all of you to come here and share with us about rugby. I didn't know much about it. I watched a little bit here and there, but didn't know much about. We have the championship here in our city. Yeah, but they keep coming back and talk to us, and you know, that's a nice thing to do. And I appreciate it very much for your time. And it's nice to have a home field here in our city. Till I assess multi-ethnic groups here in our city, and again, it's each one of us is very much we try to make a contribution into our society and the community here in our city. So I think it's a great thing.
Okay, I'll just make a few comments to conclude. Tonight we received comments as far as I was keeping score on ordinance enforcement, which we speak about regularly, parking, which we speak about regularly, the dumpster program and neighborhood watch program, which we don't speak about as often, but not sure there's a policy discussion there. Does anybody feel like we should have a policy discussion on that in an upcoming meeting? Maybe we could just get some sort of report back on timing and however the program works. I mean, certainly there needs to be notice, but I don't know that we need to have a policy discussion on that as this body. And then the rugby fields. And certainly you've shown tonight that there's interest in rugby. It reminds me, we had one gentleman come regularly for 15 years for a skate park, and guess what? We have a skate park now. So I'm thinking maybe if we have 15 people come, we can shorten the time on how long it takes us to do rugby. But I don't think that we need you to remind us. We have heard that, and it's on our list of things to do now. But I certainly appreciate the show of support for that. It's all about allocating resources and making room for everybody, and you know, those are difficult things that are sometimes different discussions than we can have, because we could say, hey, we ought to have a rugby field, but that doesn't make a rugby field. It still needs to be found, and it needs to be supported, and it needs to be programmed, and all of those things. So sometimes, often, I guess more than sometimes, these things that we want to do as a city take longer than we'd like them to take, or than many of our residents would like them to take. But thank you again for being here tonight. We'll now proceed with the rest of our meeting, which is where we act and vote on items that we have discussed previously in other meetings. So we often don't spend a lot of time discussing these items in this meeting because we've reviewed them before. The first item of business is ordinance 19-13, which is to amend several sections of our code with respect to, these are building codes, is that right, Mr. Powell?
Yes, sir.
And so, as building codes are adopted by the state, we need to adopt them in the city to match state law. Is that correct? Anything additional we should know about ordinance 19-13?
No, sir, I think that covers it pretty well, other than it maybe mention, as we do fairly often, that this item has been examined before. It does cover a broad range of subjects involving the building code.
Thank you. We bring it to the council for any discussion, questions, or motion.
I move for approval of resolution, or ordinance 19-13.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I turn to our assistant city reporter, deputy city reporter, for a vote.
Councilman Fatih Manu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Hume.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfeld.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bueller.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we turn to our resolutions. We have first Resolution 19-52 to award a contract to MC Green and Sons Inc. for a roadway project at 2540 South. Mr. Powell, any further explanation or introduction to this item?
Yes, sir, you bet. So this is a road extension project that we've considered for a long time. As you as a council know, we've had many meetings and discussions about it. It's going to help us make transportation connection to the northwest quadrant as we do commercial development in that area. I might add that for this particular project, we had a total of 6 bids, so it was well responded to in the request, and the $3.865 million bid was the most responsive bid.
And this project is to eventually connect 5600 West and 7200 West. This is a piece of that.
Yes, sir.
The fiscal impact, $3,865,000. That's what. So to the council.
I move for approval of resolution 19-52.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll turn to the recorder for the vote.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu. Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Kuhn.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfeld.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bueller.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Our next item of business is Resolution 19-53, authorizing the city to enter into an agreement with Bowen Collins and Associates Inc. to provide professional services for installation of a stormwater management equipment monitoring system. Mr. Pyle, could you fill us in a little bit on this resolution?
Yes, sir. So we install on an annual basis various pieces around the city that connect up the storm drain system throughout the city. That depends on a lot of different things. Availability of funds, urgency of project, sometimes we find maintenance problems throughout that system. And so what that has resulted in over the years, I also forgot to mention elevation differences as well within our city. What that has resulted in over the years is a fairly complete network, but, a fairly extensive network, but it's also an incomplete network. Along with that, as it becomes more extensive and more sophisticated, we find ourselves with needs to do things along the lines of measuring where the stormwater elevations are and flows and that sort of thing. So this particular contract would allow us to purchase and install this monitoring system that would help us assess the effectiveness of our stormwater drain system.
So this will make us more efficient and hopefully lead to less flooding and better stormwater.
Yes, and also hopefully provide us with data that will allow us to make even better decisions as we build the system in the future.
Fiscal note on this item is $66,300. To council.
I would move for approval of resolution 1953.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Then to the city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu. Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Kuhn.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfeld.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bueller.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We always have on our agenda a reservation for a closed session if necessary. I don't believe that there's any need for a closed session tonight. Call it for that. So we have concluded our business and we'll entertain one final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. All in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously and we are adjourned.